Welcome to yet another episode of Arimugam. Today we have with us Vidushi Ramya Abhijit. Ramya is a wonderful dancer, performer, a teacher, and she's been somehow like performer, dancer, and as I told you, she runs a dance school called Nrityalaya Dance Academy, and she's been associated with this dance form for over 20 years now. She's directed a lot of dance shows here in the Bay Area, and she has also performed in numerous stages in India and here in the Bay Area. And I've had the pleasure of working with her very, very closely. She has a dance school locations in 3 or 4 locations in the Bay Area. Thank you so much for joining us, Ramya, and you look lovely as ever.
Thank you so much. Namaskaram, vanakkam, hello, good morning, good evening, wherever it's going to be aired and if people are watching. I'm very, very glad to be here talking to all of you through you and through Shanmukha Theaters. It's an opportunity for me, and thank you for having me.
Oh, wonderful. It's lovely to have you. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your dance journey, how you actually got introduced to the art form and where you are now?
I think my journey, I must say, my teacher, my guru was my neighbor. So it happened to be, I think I heard Tattikolu, the Jatis, all the Korvais. I think it just came to me as I was growing up as a baby. I just used to, my mom used to say, dance, start agogide, uta madu. So I used to listen and eat and be fed. And I used to just go walk to the dance class, sit there next to my guru, watch, and just fall asleep right next to her. Then once I get up, oh, I have to be back home. I used to come home. So I think dance was something that I grew up with. Unknowingly, that was my second nature as growing as a child. That's how my journey as a baby started. And then formally, my grandma was the one who said, my Ajji said that, it's good. I think growing up, we all are associated with one or the other fine arts. It's growing up, it's like a tradition back home where you're either joined to a music class or to a dance class or instruments. One or the other fine arts was an essential part of my growing up ages. And then my Ajji was the one who took me to the dance class and joined me there. I was still 5 years old and started watching my seniors dance. And then I used to learn aduvus and watch my seniors do the jatis, the korvais, and be mesmerized with what they do and also fall asleep with what they do. So it was a lullaby as well as an amazing art form that I saw and grew up watching it. And that's how my journey began as a dancer.
Perfect. Being an artist, a performer is completely different from when you are a director of a show or a curator of a show. So what was the first show that you directed, and how was it tough to be a director of a show?
My first show here in the Bay Area was directing a dance pieces, amalgam pieces. It was interesting because that's when I kind of co-founded a group called Tala, because many of us leaving our home country came here to settle here in the US, and we were all passionate and seeking to do dance. That was something I think every dancer would relate. It's a passion that stays in their heart, and you just can't sit at home. You want to keep doing it. You look for venues. Where can I do? What can I do? And when you can tap onto all those friends and people, they say, hey, you want to come? Because being a soloist was hard. You didn't have opportunities other than temples to perform as a soloist. Most of the places they asked you for a group performance. So we thought, why don't we all come from different teachers? So it's good to have a banner under we all can be associated, yet carry the lineage of our Guru Parampare, and yet continue this passion, this journey that we want to do. And then I formed this little group of Tala, just the dancers coming together, choreographing simple pieces, putting it to the audience and getting appreciated. That was, I think, my first and foremost journey here of choreographing and starting a group and presenting a dance performance.
That's lovely. So when we talk about dance here in the Bay Area, like at what age do you have kids join your dance class, or when they come, what do they expect, and do they get shocked to see there's like so many years of practice that they need to go through?
Actually, if you know Divya, I have to say this, dance is something which is a natural phenomenon to everybody. even a baby, a child, you put a music, it starts bouncing. So there's dance in every living being, that's what I say. So when a child comes to me at the age of 5 or 6, 7, that's when they want to begin. They don't have an idea of what they're signing up for. But all they know is they want to dance. They want to dance with music. There is something to that music. There's something, that energy that they want to do. So to your question, to precisely answer that, a child when she's 5 years old, I think that's the right time. But it also depends on each individual child, about the maturity of a child, whether the child is able to receive my instruction and follow the structure that's very much needed for an classical dance performance, or she's still in a playful, joyful mood where she just wants to come dance. I'm okay with either of them. So I don't characterize saying, okay, they have to be very disciplined. They need to listen to me. I need to throw them the structure. They need to follow me. Then only I'm able to take them as my students. I want to give them a fair chance. I want them to, if they're physically and mentally ready, and as a child, not from their mom's perspective. If a child says, I want to try, I want to learn, I'm okay for them to have and learn and come and try and learn. I think it's also my duty to make them love this art form. Or if they feel like, I've tried it, maybe this is not for me, I'm okay with it too.
How would you classify your style of dance? Like what Bani is it? Or have you added your own elements of style to it?
It's a very good question, Divya. I think growing up, I was trained under Valavur style. And as we know, there are predominantly 5-6 styles that people have been following from centuries. It's being Kalakshetra, Tanjavur, Valavur, Pandanallur, Mysore style. But my guru later, she was into this research of finding Karnataka has its own dance traditional as well. But none of them tapped onto it because the most popular styles were predominant and people started practicing that. She tapped into these resources where there was only scriptures and sculptures. There were evidence of Karnataka having its own dance style, but dance forms, but there was no name given to it. There was not many people knew how to use it. So she coined her style as Madhurya Marga. So I must say I'm a hybrid of Valavur style and a Madhurya Marga. So Madhurya means graceful and agile. So it's one of the heroic characters, the Sattvaja Bhava. So when a Sattvaja Bhava is there, he must have that grace, the poise, the stamina, the endurance to perform it. So Margam, as we all know, it's a traditional of performing dance. So she named it Madhurya Marga. So there are treatises who have quoted about Karnataka dance tradition. There are aduvus, we call it udupas in Karnataka style. The treatises have mentioned about different type of udupus. So I am trained both in Valavur and Madhurya Marga, and I'm a hybrid of both.
Like after Nalaripu, Jatishwaram, do you introduce Padam at that stage, or would you go on to a Shabdam? Or
I think I like the Margam that's been set. I think there is a valuable reason why Shabdam is introduced right after Jatiswara. I've also seen in kids when I teach them Shabdam after Jatiswara, they're like, oh, this is easy. Because in doing Nritta and trying to remember different, like adus, they're only learning 1 or 2 steps. When you throw them a composition like Jatiswara, there's that korvai pattern that they have to remember, and it's just not one korvai.
Yeah, one after another.
One after another. And we give short breaks by going, there is arudis, where you pause and come back and start again, but there are not like a long gap where you can think about, oh, this korvai is going to happen like this. No, you have to know those korvai, how it flows. So I think I would like to introduce Shabdam because that helps them to understand what Abhinaya will look like, because Abhinaya would be something that they have never tasted till now. And as early as I can introduce Abhinaya, I think their inquisitiveness to wanting to learn more Abhinaya pieces is rekindled there.
Okay, wonderful for me. But how do you make it approachable even to a common man when they're sitting down there not just as a performer, as an audience and just watching you?
I think I shouldn't say your one and only whole purpose. One purpose is also for you to reach your divinity, your connection to the soul. The other person, the other thing that you have to make sure is how well you've communicated your sattvika bhava and how well your audience has reciprocated with your presentation. So it takes a lot of research, understanding what you're presenting. I think I'll have everybody who's from age 90 to age 1, right? Everybody should be able to perceive it. I think it's about the research that you do and the knowledge that you have and the control of the subject that you have and simplify it to the audience, not to yourself. You should never think, I understood this and I'm going to present this. Okay, I understood it, but how I can make them understand. So you have to simplify. I think I should also thank multimedia here. So I think back then people didn't need so many explanations. Now I think we have multimedia where there's a pamphlet that's been printed, the prelude that has been set, and you can use all of those media. And when you come on the stage, there's an MC who tried to just not tell you we are presenting this item in this raga, tala, and that thing. We go to an extent of explaining what we're trying. So that's where the Natya Shastra part of Natya comes to action. So as a dancer, we have Nritta, Natya and Nritya, right? So your Natya, how well versed as a dancer are you to communicate through your words and put that into action as a dancer?
We talked about multimedia and all that, but now all of the classes are happening over video calls. So how was the transition to you as a teacher and how have your students taken to it?
I think the transition for me was hard compared to students. Younger the students, I think they're just like sponge. You know, soak them in a clean water, they can absorb it. Soak them in a muddy water, they can grasp it. Soak them in a spicy water, they can take it. So it's like you put them in any vessel, they can grasp it. I think initially it was hard for the beginners who had to like really understand what is Aramandi. You got to make that shape out of your limbs. I think that was hard, but somebody who's been in the class for at least 6 months to a year, it was not very hard for them. It was hard for a teacher because she was not there to tell them certain things, but I think students picked it up fast. I'm happy that there was something called as online learning. What would have happened to fine arts if there was no technology? Past 2 years, if those kids didn't feel like they want to come and learn dance, there would be a big vacuum of generation of dancers that didn't that didn't continue this art form.
As you said, some of the students do well when there is peer pressure, in the sense you see the other performer also dancing right beside you and you want to give it all that you have got to exceed. But there is also this concept of one-on-one interest, like you just teach one performer and you're able to give your 100% to that, right? So where do you stand with that debate? Would you rather do a one-on-one class or would you do a group class?
One-on-one could be, you might have to do one-on-one. I have also done one-on-one where initially it's hard to understand your left and right and exit and entry. When you're trying to talk it online, it's very hard. Where in my house I find exit and entry? Where's my right or your right? Your left or my right? There's the basic questions, the basic understanding is lost when they're doing it online. So I prefer when they're struggling to intervene and say, you know what, just send them a message saying, let's do one-on-one. So once you give them that one-on-one connection, they immediately transform and you can put them anywhere, in a group class or in a one-on-one. So it all depends on each individual, how they exactly are executing on an online platform.
So one more question that I wanted to ask you was, I've seen you let even the youngest of your kids perform, and that brings them so much joy that they are being there on the stage. But there are also people who feel that until a kid is stage ready, I'm not getting them on the stage. But what is your take on this, and what is your justification behind letting even the youngest kids perform?
I think I was also had the same thought process. I didn't have anything different. I also believed in, up until a certain stage, I'm not going to let my students perform. Initially, I didn't do that. As a teacher, it's my duty for them to give them the essence or the flavor of what it takes to be a fine artist performer. You should experience that. So I started changing this, molding, adapting myself to what this current generation wants. So started choreographing things that these young minds can handle and project it. So it's like giving them little challenges where they can, take them to small performances, give them certain items that they can carry, not teach them Varna and throw them on a stage and say, you got to do this. Teach them some shlokas, the introductory dance items, and they flourish. You don't know their strength. They have so much strength that they exhibit. Sometimes I need to keep learning from their strength.
Bay Area as a network, what has it given you, and what have you given back in the sense collaborating with these dance teachers? What are some of the productions or some of the dance dramas that you have worked on with some of them?
I think I've done on quite a few dance drama. One of them was Jaya Jaya Vijay Raghurama, where you were also part of it. We did it for SIFA under Almelu Iyengar production. I think we had a crew of performers of 150 members, dancers and live orchestra, and at the background there were about 30-40 of them helping make the props, the movement of the props, lighting person, doing big dance drama with 1,000 people in the crowd and appreciating your work. Doesn't just come that when I say, oh, I did it. I think it comes when I say, we did it. And
as a team.
As a team. These are the people that collaborated with me. So it's been a great, and I think Bay Area is a blessing, where we have so many dancers, like-minded dancers who wants to collaborate, who wants to share their knowledge, and we get big platforms. I think today is one of the big platforms that we are talking on, Shanmukha Theaters. There are so many platforms that dancers are tapped on saying, hey, come on, you do it. We are there to support you. And I think we should take this opportunity and explore as much as we can.
By the way, Ramya ji, thank you so much for your time on this episode of Arimugam. So if kids or even adults want to reach out to you regarding your dance classes or your schedule, like where can they look you up, or if you can give us some more details about your dance class?
As you said, I teach here in the Bay Area, in Fremont. I live in Hayward and in Cupertino, South Bay. These are the 3 locations right now I'm teaching, but right now on Zoom as well. You can reach me on my Gmail, nritya09@gmail.com, or my phone number 952-221-9169. I think that's the best way. With the time crunch that we are, shoot me a text. We can definitely talk, be it a child or an adult that you want to learn. I'm here to enjoy this journey with you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Divya, for having me, and thank you, Shanmukha Theaters, for giving this an opportunity. For all the dancers, I would say one thing for Shanmukha Theaters: keep nourishing the art, nourishing the artists, because we need people who can nourish us. Thank you so much. Vanakkam and namaste.